Support.
The maestro, please!
First pop analysis of 2021. Let's go. Today we're going to be looking at Olivia Rodrigo's driver's license.
Olivia Rodrigo.
Olivia Isabel Rodrigo is an American singer and Disney actress, most notably playing Paige Olvera on Bizaardvark, and more notably, Nina Salazar Roberts on the High School Musical, the series. It's actually because of her role in High School Musical, the series, that she got her first pop hit.
All I want is love that lasts, is all I want, too much to ask.
Background.
Driver's License was originally released on January 8th of this year. It then charted on the 23rd at #1, where it currently sits as of the end of the month. Rodrigo has stated herself that the song has some influences from both Lorde and Taylor Swift, and even says that the musical style was inspired by Gracie Abrams' EP Minor that was released last year. The song has surged in popularity and getting notable covers, such as those done by James Charles.
I got my driver's license last week, just like we always talked about.
As well as a rock version done by Jaden featuring Travis Barker.
I got my driver's license last week, just like we always talked about.
Supposedly, the song is in reference to a breakup between Olivia Rodrigo and Joshua Bassett, and goes even further, talking about Joshua Bassett's supposed new girlfriend, Sabrina Carpenter. They obviously had a lot of interactions with each other, considering they were all part of High School Musical, the series. People believe the blonde girl referenced in the lyrics is indeed Sabrina Carpenter, including Sabrina Carpenter herself, and thus that inspired her to make a response to this song.
You can try to get on the skin while he's on mine.
Going even further with the drama, just this past week, Joshua Bassett released his response in the version of a song.
Well, it's only a matter of time to set it straight, time to tell the...
Don't you love teenage drama? Although technically Rodrigo is the only teenager at 17, because Bassett is 20 and Carpenter is 21. Moving past the drama, joining Rodrigo on this track is one Dan Negro. A bit more experienced than Rodrigo in the pop realm, given his discography only includes one other pop hit that he's worked on, that being...
But you like me better, wish I were Heather.
Driver's License is released by Geffen and Interscope.
Form.
Driver's License actually falls into 3 different subgenres of pop, those being power pop, indie pop, and bedroom pop. The song is just over 4 minutes long in B-flat major, 4/4 time, and 72 beats per minute. After the introduction with the car noises, we open with the first verse.
Got my driver's license last week,
Which is then followed by the first chorus.
and I know we weren't perfect, but I've never felt this way.
We then get a second verse, which is only half the length of the first.
And all my friends are tired of hearing how much I miss you.
A second chorus.
I guess you didn't mean what you wrote in that song about me.
A bridge.
Red lights, stop signs, I still see your
And the third and final chorus.
I know we weren't perfect, but I've never felt this way.
Which includes a short extension that finally ends the song.
You said forever, now I drive alone past your street.
Piano.
The piano is the most prevalent instrument throughout the song, and it fades in, overlapping with the car noise on that repeated B-flat, before going to a B-flat major for 2 bars and a G minor for 2 bars. Notice the right hand just repeats the B-flat in octaves, while the left hand is the one that's actually playing the root position chords. We then get an E-flat 5 chord or power chord before having a B-flat major chord over D, which has a pitch bend at the end of the measure. Also notice how this phrase is only 3 bars. This song actually utilizes uneven phrases, always in groups of 4 and then 3. As we move on through the song, the piano changes. The left hand is no longer doing block chords, opting for fifths and octaves, and the right hand is doing these broken chord figures, which make it a bit more melodic in nature, as opposed just to repeating B flats over and over and over. When we get to the end of the chorus, things get a lot more thick texture-wise. The right hand is now doing repeated full chords, going G minor, F major, B flat major, D minor, and then an E flat major 7, with the left hand doing the root notes in octaves, before very much reducing down for those final two bars, and just has the left hand going C minor, F major over C, and doing B flat in octaves. In later choruses, that pattern does change, still doing C minor and F major over C. However, those B flat and octaves now become a B flat 5. When we get to the bridge, the piano just simply repeats the chords over and over on the quarter note. The left hand does the root note in octaves, and the right hand does the accompanying triads, going G minor, E flat major 7, B flat major, and F major. Notice on that E flat major 7, though, that the triad being played in the right hand is simply a G minor chord, but it's that E flat in the bass which makes that an E flat major 7. It then essentially repeats that, except for the very last bar, in which there's a very quick D minor over F chord snuck in. We then get to the end of the song where everything is stripped back except for the piano, going E flat major for 2 bars, then B flat major for a bar. Now yes, you could argue that goes E flat major, then E flat 6, then E flat major 7, then E flat major again in octaves, but it's simple to just understand that all is an expansion of E flat major. Similarly speaking, it's easier just to understand that one bar is a bar of B flat major with some passing tones in it. Right before the end of the song, we get a variation on that big string hit we hear at the end of the choruses, although this time it goes G minor, F major, D minor, F major, E flat major 7. Notice there's no B flat major this time. We then get the final phrase of the entire song, which I'm highlighting for a very good reason. Notice how it goes C minor, F major over C, then B flat 5. But the next time it goes C minor, F major over C, but this time a G minor chord over B flat without the 5th, showing that those first 2 bars are simulating an authentic cadence, where the last 2 are actually simulating a deceptive cadence. Moving on to simpler instruments, the pad holds that B flat note for 2 bars before doing a B flat pitch down to F and then pitches back up to B flat. Once it pitch bends back up to that B flat, it stays there, but another voice pitch bends out of that to make a 3rd over it.
Strings.
I say strings, but it's actually just a string patch on a synthesizer, and we first hear it at the end of the chorus, where it goes B flat, then A, then hits a B flat major over F chord, stays on that D before giving us a very full E flat major 7 chord. We then hear it later on, given it's very much buried, but you hear it hold that high B flat, and then it does that pitch bend up to that C. It then comes back later in the bridge supporting the chords that the piano is playing, going G minor twice, and then B flat major over F, and then F major. Do note, though, that that second G minor is actually a part of that E flat major 7 chord we talked about earlier, though.
Pluck synth.
The absolute simplest instrument in this entire song, it repeatedly just hits B flat on 16ths in the middle of the song.
Bass.
The only bass figure that's not just played by the piano occurs in the bridge, where it's simply just doing the root of each chord in combinations between dotted quarter notes and eighth notes, simply going G, E flat, B flat, F.
Verse.
The first verse opens very low in Olivia Rodrigo's register and heavily syncopated and with a lot of drops scattered throughout.
Got my driver's license last week, just like we always talked about. Cause you were so excited for me to finally drive up to your house.
The following phrase repeats all of those trends, but now stays even lower in her range, never going above that D.
But today I drove through the suburbs, crying cause you weren't around.
The second half of the first verse, which some people argue is just the start of a new verse, repeats all those same ideas with low in her range, syncopated rhythms, drops scattered throughout, but this time she goes up to a G, one note higher than she did before.
And you're probably with that blonde girl who always made me doubt. She's so much older than me. She's everything I'm insecure about.
But again, though, just like the second phrase before, she then stays very low in her range.
Yeah, today I drove through the suburbs, cause how could I ever love someone else?
When we get to the second verse, all of the same ideas are repeated, but this time we end the phrase with a triplet figure.
All my friends are tired of hearing how much I miss you, but I kinda feel sorry for them, cause they'll never know you the way that I do.
She then alters the second phrase just a little bit as well.
Yeah, today I drove through the suburbs and pictured I was driving home to you.
Chorus.
As opposed to the verse, the chorus rhythmically is quite straight with a lot of repeated eighth notes, minus the melisma at the end, and has her slowly climbing in her range, hitting that high D.
And I know we weren't perfect, but I've never felt this way for no one.
In the following phrase, she repeats that, but this time she stays on that D a lot longer.
And I just can't imagine how you could be so okay now that I'm gone.
And this is where we get that power pop feel, those high, very powerful downward triplets, which are then followed by more triplets but much more drawn back and much lower in her range.
Guess you didn't mean what you wrote in that song about me. 'Cause you said forever, now I drive alone past your street.
There are some variations throughout the chorus, like in the second chorus, where at the end of this first phrase we have that melisma before we go into the next one.
And I know we weren't perfect, but I've never felt this way for no one. Oh, and
Similarly speaking, she also does a fall off of Gone the second time she sings it.
I'm gone.
When we get to the final chorus and everything is stripped back but Rodrigo herself and the piano, the energy is dialed way back and there are some slight rhythmic alterations. However, this time she hits the D earlier but much softer.
I know we weren't perfect, but I've never felt this way for no one.
Even going further in that second phrase, she hits that high F before staying on that D again.
And I just can't imagine how you could be so okay now that I'm gone.
When we get to the second half of the final chorus, she does start off melodically the same, obviously with a lot less energy, but very much departs from the melody that she sang before, although the second half of that is still pretty similar.
'Cause you didn't mean what you wrote in that song about me. 'Cause you said forever, now I drive alone past your street.
We then get that final little extension on the last chorus where she repeats the last 2 bars, given she starts to become more free with the rhythm as she finishes off.
Yeah, you said forever, now I drive alone past your street.
Bridge.
The bridge changes things massively, especially in terms of texture, in both the instrumental and the vocals themselves. We just have simple quarter and eighth note rhythms rocking back and forth for D and B flat for the most part, with the occasional E flat and C.
Red lights, stop signs, I still see your face in the white cars, front yards, can't drive past the places we.
She then changes from D to B flat to D and G with the occasional F and some slight rhythmic alterations before finishing off with a set of melismas at the end, all done in thirds.
Used to go to, 'cause I still fucking love you,
The second half of the bridge then essentially starts the same, with some slight alterations in melody and rhythm to account for different lyrics.
Sidewalks we cross, I still hear your voice in the traffic. We're laughing over all the noise. God,
That then continues into the final phrase of the bridge, again with some slight variation in melody and rhythm for different words, yet the melismas at the end are exactly the same.
so blue, no we're through, but I still fucking love you,
This song really stands out to me. There's so much going on here, and it's all done so well. Not saying that it's not done well in the other songs that we've looked at, but this one even has odd phrasing. You don't even hear that in a lot of pop songs these days. It's really just one of those songs that you can get lost in. Honestly, just put this on when you're gonna be
driving home to you. And I know we weren't perfect, but I've never felt this way for no one.
I will say this though, while I do praise this song's musicality, and while I do know that this is the #1 song in the entire world right now, at the end of the day, this is really just all about a teenage breakup. It just happens that this teenage breakup involves 3 Disney stars that were all involved in a high-profile television series, and they're all arguing about it via the medium that is pop music.
I just can't imagine how you could be so okay now that I'm gone. I guess you didn't mean what you wrote in that song about me. 'Cause you said forever, now I drive alone past your street.